So for CD-ROM, DVD-ROM audio, that kind of thing, you're going to the computer from the board. How is, I mean, I don't want you to reveal any secrets, but on a basic level, what are you using to go from your compressors and your limiters into that
Yeah,
computer?
that's a Lavery, which is considered like the really high end of processors.
Okay.
The A to D converter is a Lavery that's been, of course, modified. Like I said, it has our power supplies, our line amps, all that kind of stuff. But he makes a lot. He's considered like one of the top or the best. Yeah. So, and that's why we chose it, because we compared it to all kinds of processors, and that was the best sounding one. Then we went ahead and made it better. So again, that's kind of the way we go about things here.
The philosophy of customization.
Yeah, and we always have to be aware of other things coming up. You know, if we go to the show, the AES convention or something like that, and we see a piece of equipment that might be, a new equalizer or something, well, we'll go, well, we better compare that to the one we build, and nothing's ever beat it.
No.
Nothing's ever sounded as clean as what we have, because we can hand build it for our system.
Right.
It's almost impossible for them to do it.
Now, do you ever go to those shows and say, find a piece of gear that's new that's coming out and say, that's great, but we might be able to mod it in this way to increase the signal flow? Is that something you've done before?
Not really. Only with the processors.
Okay.
Only with the converters. I think that's
technology.
that's about all we've. I'll tell you one thing we've recently done though. Even with the Audio Cube, we went ahead and built our own computer system.
Really?
Yeah, we made an agreement with them so that we can license the software, but we completely put together our whole system.
So they normally sell the
They
computer
sell a
system.
standalone system. Yeah,
Okay.
it has a computer in it, it has all the software and so forth. Well, we put our own computer in it. We did all of our own wiring, everything, just to get better wire, better. Everything makes a difference.
Well, yeah, because as a manufacturer, they're trying to cut costs on the wiring and the
Yeah.
power
Well,
slide.
They might. I don't know. And there's usually is some real high end, some special this, or some other thing that's a little bit better that they wouldn't want to spend the money on.
Or it's just preference. I mean, you might even prefer. I mean, there are times when I'm working with something where I might go back to a slightly cheaper piece of gear just because it sounds better.
That could happen. That could happen. Or you might want an effect.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when it comes to pop music, there aren't really any rules.
No.
It's not like distortion isn't necessarily a bad word, because sometimes it creates excitement.
Right.
A certain kind of distortion or a certain kind of compression or some kind of changing of the signal, and because it isn't about natural with pop music. It isn't necessarily about natural. It's about creating some new kind of experience.
Well, it's going to be
a creative aspect to
Right.
the engineering.
And
It becomes part of the music.
it'll be different if you're producing, say, a rap album or a grungy rock album. You're going to do things differently.
Well, that's what we need to know. Yeah, that's what a mastering engineer needs to know. A mastering engineer needs to have all of these kind of like ideals. I look at them as, like certain ideals in their mind, which means you have to have listened to a lot of product, a lot of people's CDs. And it's just like going to a museum or something. If you spend a lot of time going to museums all over Europe or whatever, you begin to notice the paintings that are really great. They start to stand out. Same way with music or these mixes or the sound. You listen to a lot of CDs of, say, rap. You'll notice it after a while. There's going to be ones that stand out. They really affect you more than the others. There's something about the sound that communicates better. There's a presence, there's a space, there's an environment that it creates, or something that it does that makes it exceptional. And you've got that in your mind now. So when somebody brings in a rap record, you put it on, and you're immediately comparing to that. You're saying, well, this doesn't do to me what I know it can't, what a good rap record can do. So, let me see if I can manipulate the sound and do this and that or whatever. So then you have to know your tools.
Right.
You have to know, how am I going to get this thing to do what I want it to do? Do I have the tools I need? So it's also a responsibility of an engineer to have the right tools around him. So that's what you're attempting to do, though. You're trying to bring this thing up to get the most out of it so that it's going to communicate the best with the listener.
thank you again, Bernie. I really appreciate it. This has been
Yeah.
a
Okay.
fantastic visit.